Hello, passionate Celtic FC fans. This is Celtic Central News, your exclusive source for Celtic updates. Before we kick off, we appreciate the incredible support. If you love Celtic, subscribe now, hit like, and let's build this community together. Now, onto the latest news. A warm welcome to new subscribers. Your support is crucial. Hail, hail. The buzz around Glasgow took an unexpected turn this morning when Celtic stunned the footballing community by announcing the signing of young striker Evan Ferguson. Few had genuinely believed the speculation that had floated about in pubs, on message boards, and across late-night radio shows. The Irishman, still only a teenager yet already carving a name for himself in the English Premier League, had been linked with Manchester United, Chelsea, and even clubs on the continent. Yet here we are, with Celtic Park preparing to welcome a forward whom many considered one of the brightest prospects in European football. The official statement from the club was short and sharp, but the impact was seismic. For supporters, it feels like a declaration of intent, the sort of deal that suggests Celtic are no longer content to merely dominate domestically, but rather to force their way back into serious European contention. To see Evan Ferguson pulling on the famous green and white hoops is not just about adding goals. It is about adding credibility. The move challenges the perception that Scottish football cannot attract or retain the brightest young talents, and that has stirred pride across the fan base. Whispers of Ferguson's arrival had actually started weeks ago, though few gave them much weight. It began with sightings of representatives from Celtic reportedly flying south, allegedly to discuss terms with his agents. Then there were the cryptic social media posts, the so-called airport pictures, the murmurs of a private jet arriving at Glasgow Airport under the cover of night. Supporters have seen such tales many times, often ending in disappointment, so the instinct was to treat it as fantasy. But the rumors refused to fade. Local journalists picked up on chatter inside Lennoxtown, where sources hinted that something massive was brewing. Even rival fans began to wonder if Celtic had managed to pull off a coup. Still, it seemed almost implausible. Why would a young striker tipped for superstardom in England choose to come north of the border? That question remains at the heart of the debate, with theories ranging from guaranteed playing time, to the allure of Champions League football, to a personal admiration for the history and atmosphere of Celtic Park. Whatever the truth, the deal is done, and it has set tongues wagging. The reaction from the Celtic support has been nothing short of euphoric. Across social media platforms, fans are flooding timelines with excitement, creativity, and a healthy dose of disbelief. Memes of Ferguson wearing the hoops, videos of his best goals edited to iconic Celtic chants, and passionate declarations about a new era have gone viral within hours. Some longtime season ticket holders have described the signing as the most thrilling piece of business since Henrik Larsson's arrival, a comparison that feels weighty but shows the sheer scale of anticipation. Others are tempering expectations, reminding fellow supporters that Ferguson is still raw, still developing, and cannot be burdened with the pressure of solving every problem overnight. But even the cautious voices acknowledge this is the kind of signing that changes narratives. For years, Scottish clubs have watched as their brightest talents departed south for bigger wages and grander stages. Now, the flow has, in a sense, been reversed. Ferguson's arrival symbolizes a shift, a moment where Celtic not only protect their stature at home, but expand their reputation abroad. The Green Brigade have already promised a raucous welcome display at his first home match. Among pundits, however, there is a split in opinion. Some analysts are praising the ambition, calling it a masterstroke from the Celtic board. They argue that such boldness is essential if Scottish football wants to be taken seriously again on the European stage. Ferguson's pace, finishing, and ability to link play could transform Celtic's attack, especially in continental competitions where sharpness in front of goal has often been the missing piece. Others, though, are skeptical. They point out the financial risks, the pressure it places on the young striker, and the potential disruption to squad harmony. One commentator on a late-night radio phone-in even suggested the move reeks of desperation, a gamble that could backfire if Ferguson fails to adapt. Yet the counterargument is simple. Big clubs must take big risks. Celtic's history is built on moments of daring, from Jock Stein's Lisbon Lions to the audacious capture of foreign talents in previous eras. Ferguson represents continuity in that tradition, a player whose potential ceiling makes any gamble worthwhile. The debate itself, fiery and passionate, is a reminder of how monumental this announcement truly is for the Scottish game. Speculation has also turned towards the financial mechanics behind the move. Celtic are not typically known for breaking the bank, preferring to identify talent early, develop, and eventually sell for profit. To land a striker already proven in the Premier League suggests a significant outlay, or at least a deal with clever structuring. Reports are swirling of installments, performance-based clauses, and perhaps even a sell-on percentage for his former club. If true, it would reflect Celtic's willingness to adapt their model, bending but not entirely breaking it, to secure a marquee name. For supporters, the figures are less important than the symbolism. This is a club accused in recent years of being cautious, perhaps even timid, in the transfer market. By announcing Ferguson, Celtic have sent a message. They are willing to fight, to dream bigger, and to make financial moves that match the ambitions of their fans. The economics will eventually surface, as they always do, but for now the story is about momentum, about hope, and about what this young striker might bring to a team desperate to carve out a fresh identity on Europe's biggest stages. Beyond the headlines, there is a deeply personal angle to consider. Ferguson's choice to come to Glasgow is not merely about footballing logic, but perhaps about culture, belonging, and the emotional weight of the move. Growing up in Ireland, he will have been acutely aware of Celtic's historic ties to Irish identity, the songs, the flags, the deep connection between club and community. For some players, that bond matters more than any wage packet. It can inspire loyalty, passion, and an almost spiritual connection to the shirt. Celtic Park is not just another stadium. It is a cathedral of football where the roar on European nights has humbled even the grandest of visiting clubs. Ferguson will now step into that cauldron, not as a spectator, but as a central figure. It is a heavy responsibility, but also an extraordinary opportunity. His decision to join might speak to a desire to be more than just another young forward lost in the Premier League machine. At Celtic, he can be a hero, a leader, and perhaps even a legend in the making. That possibility is what fuels the excitement, and why this announcement feels so historic. The focus now shifts to what Ferguson's arrival means for Celtic's current attacking line. Kyogo Furuhashi has been the talisman for several seasons, delivering goals at crucial moments and becoming a fan favorite in his own right. How does Ferguson fit alongside him? Some suggest a strike partnership could be in the works, a return to the classic two-forward system that once defined Celtic under Martin O'Neill. Others argue that Ferguson will become the central figure, forcing Kyogo to adapt his role, perhaps drifting wider or deeper to accommodate the Irishman's strengths. Inevitably, comparisons will arise, debates will rage in pubs and podcasts, but what is certain is that competition for places will intensify. For a club preparing for domestic dominance and European challenges, that depth could be decisive. Managers know that injuries, suspensions, and dips in form can derail entire campaigns. By having two strikers capable of leading the line, Celtic are protecting themselves against the unpredictability of a long season. Still, egos and dressing room chemistry must be managed carefully. Ferguson's youth and hunger may blend with Kyogo's experience and intelligence, but the delicate balance of roles and expectations will be one of the manager's toughest tasks. Attention is also falling on how rival clubs will respond. Rangers, in particular, will not take this lightly. The eternal struggle between the Glasgow Giants has always been about more than points on the pitch. It's about psychological blows, one-upmanship, and statements of intent. By landing Ferguson, Celtic have delivered a shockwave, and across Ibrox, there will be urgent conversations about recruitment strategy. Supporters on the blue side of the city are already voicing concern on call-in shows, demanding their club match such ambition. Could this trigger a transfer arms race in Scottish football, where both Glasgow Giants push beyond their usual budgets to attract bigger names? Perhaps, though history shows such rivalries can also lead to rash spending. Yet even outside the old firm, smaller clubs will feel the ripple effect. When one team elevates its quality so dramatically, the rest are forced to adapt, finding smarter ways to compete. It could raise the overall level of the Scottish Premiership, or it could deepen the gulf between Celtic and the rest. Either way, Ferguson's signature has become a talking point not just for Celtic, but for the entire landscape of the domestic game. From a European perspective, the deal could not be timed better. Celtic have often found themselves on the wrong end of scorelines against Europe's elite, struggling to match the physicality and pace of modern continental football. Ferguson brings precisely the attributes they've been lacking: strength to hold off defenders, speed to stretch back lines, and composure in the box when chances are scarce. If he adapts quickly, he could be the difference between group stage disappointment and knockout round dreams. The Champions League anthem ringing out at Celtic Park already creates magic, but add a young striker desperate to prove himself on the grandest stage, and the atmosphere could be electric. European nights are about moments: snatching a goal against the run of play, punishing a defensive lapse, turning hope into belief. Ferguson could be that player, the one who shifts perception and forces opponents to respect Celtic again. While no single signing guarantees continental success, Ferguson represents an attempt to bridge the gap. It is ambition crystallized, and whether it succeeds or falters will define the club's narrative for years to come. The stakes are massive, and fans are already dreaming of famous nights ahead. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Of course, the pressure on Ferguson himself cannot be underestimated. A young player stepping into such a cauldron faces extraordinary expectations. Every touch, every run, every missed chance will be dissected, celebrated, or criticized with equal intensity. The Scottish media, notoriously unforgiving, will build him up quickly, but could just as easily tear him down. Supporters, while jubilant now, will demand immediate returns, especially given the scale of the announcement. For a teenager still learning his trade, that is an immense burden. Yet those close to him describe a calm, grounded character, someone who embraces challenges and does not shy away from responsibility. If that is true, then perhaps Celtic have signed not only a talent, but a temperament perfectly suited to the pressure cooker of Glasgow. Still, patience will be required. Ferguson's journey will not be a straight line. There will be setbacks and frustrations. The key question is whether the fanbase and the club itself are prepared to nurture him through those inevitable dips. If they can, then the rewards could be extraordinary. But if the weight of expectation proves too heavy, the dream could sour quickly, as has happened to promising signings before. What makes this entire story so captivating is the sense of unpredictability. Nobody saw it coming, not in earnest, not at this scale. In an era where leaks and insider accounts spoil most transfer sagas long before they conclude, Celtic managed to keep this one close to the chest until the moment of announcement. That secrecy has amplified the drama, catching rivals, pundits, and even their own supporters off guard. Now, speculation is running rampant about what other surprises might be lurking. Is this a one-off marquee signing, or the start of a new era of boldness in the transfer market? Some whisper about further reinforcements, names that might not yet have surfaced. Others wonder if this move is simply about sending a message, a symbolic moment designed to rally the support and shift the narrative of Scottish football. Either way, the Ferguson announcement has created an intoxicating mixture of hope, disbelief, and curiosity. It feels like the beginning of a story rather than its conclusion, and that open-endedness is what fuels the excitement. For once, nobody knows exactly what happens next, and that uncertainty is part of the thrill. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is undeniable. Celtic have reminded the footballing world of their stature. For too long, the club's storylines have been limited to domestic dominance, boardroom debates, and struggles on the European stage. With Ferguson's arrival, there is fresh energy, fresh narrative, and a sense of renewed ambition. Whether it results in goals, trophies, or merely headlines, it has already changed the conversation. The young Irishman may score on his debut and become an instant hero, or he may take months to find his rhythm, but either way, his presence alone has shifted perceptions. For supporters, this is about more than football. It is about identity, pride, and the belief that their club still has the power to surprise the world. For rivals, it is a wake-up call, a reminder that complacency is dangerous. For Ferguson, it is the beginning of a chapter that could define his career. The stage is set, the anticipation palpable, and the story only just beginning. In Glasgow, whispers have become shouts, rumors have become reality, and the arrival of Evan Ferguson feels like the dawn of something unforgettable. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.